Hello, Steven. Nice to have you here today. Before we dive into cloud and network cybersecurity, I would like to ask you if you could introduce yourself. I mean, tell us a bit about your career and how you got into cybersecurity. So please let us know a bit on your past.
Hello, Guy. So I'm Steven Vercauteren. I'm living in Belgium. I started my career around 32 years ago when I was the owner of a PC and software shop where we assembled our own PCs, we sold them to our customers, and we did also development of small software programs tailor-made for hairdressers, for example. After a while, I went working for Econocom, which is a service provider company, and I was detached to Telenet, which is a local telecom provider in Belgium. And I started there on the help desk, just solving all cases that came in from the people working there. So Excel, Office was most of the part, but also helping them out with a computer that won't start, helping out on network level, pulling cables. And then after, I think around 6 months, I was promoted to the help desk manager. So I had 6 people working for me. Then my job was more to get the work done, to give every one of them their tasks for the day or for the week, and see that everything was fine. Around 1 year later, I became a system administrator, mainly for Windows machines, but not only the Windows Server. We also took MySQL, MSSQL, proxy servers, everything was included on that part. And I think after a while, they changed the organization a little bit at Telenet, and we moved out. And I worked for a small company called Materna, not to confuse with Confiture. Yeah. So they were specialized in selling SMS services. That was also the time of the European Championship in Belgium and Netherlands. And we went for selling those devices and integrating everything with local systems they had. One of the major integrations I did was integrating faxing and SMS services for SAP. And then after I went on independent again, and I joined Sony as a consultant, where I first worked for the call center. I did help desk, helping out the local security officer already with firewall rules. And then after a while, I got placed on the repair lines of Sony, where I was responsible for full ICT implementation of all the repair lines for the VIA laptops. And then I got a career move, I should say, and I started studying everything that was related to cybersecurity, mainly network security first, and firewalling and so on. And I got the role to be responsible for the data center and mainly the internet-facing part of it in Sony. And then that was for VIA of Europe in that time. And then at a certain moment, Sony decided to migrate a lot of their applications to Belgium. And we built 2 data centers. So I made the design together with external vendors, and we implemented the network part and the firewalling and security part. So we were hosting a lot of websites at that moment for Sony out of Belgium. After I think 8 years something, I went working for the federal police in Belgium, also as a consultant, having a security role also there, mainly working on antivirus parts. And then after I think 2013, I joined Sony back in the cybersecurity team, for Europe at that moment, and then later we became global. And in 2015, I went for 1.5 years to China to roll out mainly McAfee antivirus inside China, but with a focus on everything that was the production lines of the factories, which is a special case because you cannot bring anything down. And then after I think 2 years, then mainly focused on factory security, also networking, antivirus stuff. I went in another team where I was responsible for bridging the operational aspect of security and the incident management team. Both have quite a different view on security. One of them is the incident management team, which wants to have the highest security, and the operational part, they want to have it as much as easy, and security is blocking them. So bridging those two teams is quite a challenge. And then after I worked, the cloud came into the picture, I should say. So it was quite late to move to joining the cloud, but suddenly some business units did it, and we had to catch up a lot on how to secure the cloud and what was good for them, integrating the SOC with the logs and so on. So it's quite a heavy challenge. At a certain moment, most of the operational responsibility moved to another team inside Sony, and then we became more as consultants for the local businesses. So the local, everything was split up again, regional, and we were a consulting team helping out the regions to implement security.
Well, that was quite impressive when you start, assembling PCs in your local shop to basically being global or in China. So congratulations on that path. I'm sure there's more to come. So that should be great. Obviously, you have been exposed to many aspects of IT and quite a few aspects on security. Obviously, as we introduce people to this channel, we obviously are always interested on what kind of wisdom they want to share with us. What did you learn in terms of the better practices or the worst practices? And sometimes it's the do's and the don't do's. So anything you want to share with our audience who may want to think, well, can I benefit from?
I think if I look at everything for the moment and what happened in the past, good planning is the main key to start correct migration or whatever you want to do. So you have to have a good plan, and knowing what you have and what you don't have, it's also a very, very good asset to have in hands to start anything.
Does that mean you need an experienced project manager, or does it mean that everybody in the project team has to do his share of planning?
I think everybody. It's not only the project manager. I think it's such a big project, getting all the teams talking to each other, knowing exactly what they want and how they want to do it, and then putting all the blocks together before even you do something. That's the main point to get something successful.
Okay. So did you have also to negotiate occasionally? Sometimes, as you explained yourself, you have operations who want to simplify their life. Security wants to have it more secure. Probably if I don't take only operations, but even business and security is very much the same discussion. So how do you feel about? I mean, it's a traditional, but any lessons learned on that side?
My attitude was always to get the best of the two worlds. So we try to satisfy the security people, and you try to satisfy the operations, and you have to find the middle between them to get the security in place that is the maximum that you can really afford on an operational aspect.
Oh, okay. Sure.
That works well. And letting those first those teams discuss between each other, try to find it, and then go to the business. It's much more better than just tell from security side what you want from the business, because then you will get that same discussion with the business.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I have always been impressed by your work ethics and your work drive. For me, you have always been the one who, clearly set the objectives and, clearly focused on them and, would do anything to overcome natural problems which would arise. And I can imagine you working 24 hours if it is required to solve the problem. So, I think it's, was that always like that, or was that something you acquired over time? How did you become so determined in actually getting the job done?
That's something personally, I think. So I want to have it finished, and I want to have it correctly finished.
Yeah, but suddenly
it happened in the past that we did 3-4 days without sleep, just to get it finished.
That is a pretty 3-4 days is 1 day is already not bad, but 3-4 days is that's pretty impressive. Moving a bit on, I mean, obviously in the security world we have a situation where simply there is more demand than offer. That means there is really a lack of people who are working in security and causing all kinds of complex situations for companies and even for existing teams who have to do more than their share because simply they can't recruit enough people. So if you have either very young people who are preparing a career in security, or even also those who are maybe, in the middle of their career, is there any advice because you have done many things in your life, and you explained it because simply IT and security were different in different phases in your life. Today, security is more established. Is there any advice you would give, where do you start, or how to approach, this career planning or this lifelong learning, which are very close to each other? Any advice you would give to anybody who is younger than you?
I should say focus and target for a generalist and not a specialist. What I mean by that is, if we take, for example, the cloud for the moment, it's so many different disciplines you have in one area. You have networking, you have servers, you have operating systems. Now everybody's moving to infrastructure as code, so you have a part of programming. So I should advise to take it a broad way and know the basics of programming. One programming language, for example, know the basics of networking, know the basics of different operating systems, Windows, Linux, Mac. It will help you to understand how everything fits together, and it will give you a much broader plate to operate from. Yeah, well, like you said, that career is a full life of learning, so you have to study all the time. But if you have a good foundation, which is very broad, it's much easier to learn new things and to keep up to date with what's happening in IT and security for them.
Well, I mean, thanks for the advice. I think, we all are in an area now where cloud is multiple, more sophisticated technology, cloud native and so on. Additionally, we're facing suddenly the emergence of artificial intelligence. We're wondering what impact will it have on the good guys and the bad guys. We'll have, we know that a few years later we'll have quantum computing suddenly changing the rules of what is encryption or decryption. So I think your advice to continuously learn is so crucial, and therefore I think that's what I get from what you say. Starting first with the foundations, the basics, the generalist view.
I can add something. I see a lot of people around me who just what I call learning, it's reading on the internet or just following a course. What really is missing is the practical skills. So you can read something, but it's better if you can really try it out, run into problems, try to solve them yourself, so you get that knowledge of how to solve certain problems you yourself create, and it will give you a lot of advantage if in real life or in your career something like that is happening. You have the experience, and even if I look at a role like architect, you can think they just have to design something. But if they really know the in and outs, how it's working in the background, it makes your life so much easier.
Makes sense. I can clearly see that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Steven. It was a pleasure talking to you. We'll be talking in a minute about cloud and network security. So thanks everybody for listening. So make sure to also check out this more technical video in a moment.